How's everybody doing? All right?
Good.
Yeah. I often think how good it is to be good.
Right?
If you have, yeah, I'm good.
Good and to know it.
Yeah, to have that conscious oversight that good is
It's good.
high up there. Yeah.
It's good to be.
Good to be, yes, exactly. Honora, a few days ago you had mentioned lesson 139.
Yes.
Do you still want to do that?
I think it's a really great lesson, especially since I felt that it was, it had to do with accepting oneself, with no doubt, and being really confident in the love of God. So I thought it was a great lesson for that reason.
Okay, yeah. Well, we'll do it in keeping with that whole theme and the idea of self-acceptance, and which is really everything. It's important, I think, for each of us to realize that this is a gathering like this is atypical. It's different in the sense that you're not expected to really be anyway. I love the thing that Jesus says all throughout the course when he says, you're not expected really to be any way. You're not expected to be without illusions, without, your illusions. I am asking you, he says, I am asking you just not to have any illusions that you prefer to keep. So, whatever they are, we'll use them as a means of departure or going beyond them. That's a reasonable request. No pretending is necessary. You don't have to act any differently or act a certain way. You're accepted and appreciated and loved just the way you are. And that, of course, has deeper content and deeper meaning, because just the way you are as God created you, it doesn't get any better than that. That has to do with the deeper qualities of who you are as a creative entity, as a creative being. As you are, as God created you. Yeah, Honora.
Jeffrey, if you remember what I said, it wasn't that I was nervous or I was anxious or anything when I started the first meeting of A Course in Miracles in Fort Mill, and Franklin was there. It was more like, remember at one point when I shared with you that I wish I had been more like you, Jeffrey, but I'm not Jeffrey. And then your response to me was something along the line of 139, which is what you're talking about now, too.
Yeah, everybody has a beautifully unique, individualized aspect of self-expression. Something, divinely acceptable and appreciated. Something that's loving and lovable. And that's the universal mark of God in you. And that delivers you and absolves you of all those false, pretentious feelings like I should be like Lillicat, or I should be like Kevin, or, I wish my voice sounded like Ilse's, or, Tatiana.
Or I wish I looked like Elsa.
Yeah, all of that, all of that too. All of that too,
Yeah.
Because that, that's all that stuff is wanting to be like, is generally out of the ego playbook, and there are no more neurotic types in the world generally than those who fit the picture, the quote unquote illusory idealized version of something. Models, for instance, very often people who are professional models who've been determined or judged to have that look, you know, that agreed upon great look, you know.
That fabulous look.
Yeah, that fabulous look. They're discovering for themselves that it doesn't mean a thing. You know, that there's no comfort in that. You know, there's no more reality in that than any other form, circumstance.
Yeah, when you ain't got that thing.
Yeah. Now, of course, creative reality ensures that you do have that thing. You know, creative reality is literally the mark of God, the universal mark of God in you, in your own beautiful uniqueness, which of course it's your function to discover and to accept and to cherish, learn to cherish and care for, learn from, right? There's this whole dimension to, you know, your creative reality that's beyond belief and beyond wanting to be like anybody else. It's beyond all judgment and all egotistical consideration and references. And the purpose of any spiritual teaching, any meaningful teaching at all, is really to get to know that, to discover it, and to come into the experience and into the influence of discovering how vast and how wondrous that is. There's nothing in all of God's universe quite like you. And you know, that has to do with self-knowledge, the deeper self-knowledge. Gaining that self-knowledge is of course dispelling the mythology of the ego. You know, getting out of that worldly, distracted, mind-wandering state where you're really in a false attempt to deny your own reality. And it, you know, it wreaks havoc in your system and produces quite a lot of diversity in problems that show up seemingly in various places in your human experience. But it's all rooted in the one problem. Holy Spirit says, one problem, one solution. Right? The solution is truth. The problem is illusion. It's what never had any reality, but was given reality apparently and temporarily. So that, you know, it's a wonderful theme. It's a wonderful idea and principle to work with, and in the course, in the workbook for students, 139 is that lesson. Well, let's begin there and see what that brings. It's 139 if you want to read along in the lesson. And lesson 139 is I will accept atonement for myself. I will accept atonement. And atonement is at one min. At one min, atonement is correction. And all correction is really oneness, getting outside of that false, controversial thought system that sees opposition everywhere, duality and opposition in all things. It's a recipe for perpetual misery and fearfulness. You know, that dualistic split and the belief in opposition and contradiction. In reality, in God's kingdom, in truth, in you and in your greater relationship to all things and to the creator of life, there's no contradiction. There's no conflict. There's no opposition. There isn't anything that could ever be against anything. It's inconceivable to the human thought system, to the egocentric, to the worldly thought system. It's inconceivable, but it's perfectly true, and you know it in the deepest and most organic and natural of ways, because it's the root of your being. It's that quality of who you are that you don't do very well when you distract yourself from it, or when you allow any other kind of thoughts or thinking to displace it. That's at the heart and a key component of your natural ability to be joyful, to celebrate your own life, to just be feeling it powerfully and wonderfully, and thank God I am myself. I know who I am, I know what I am. So this is really a key and an essential foundation. No, Gus.
Oh.
Yeah, he wants to eat plants. Hold on one second, everybody. Gus, you have food in here.
It's definitely chomped down on those few times.
Did it? I didn't. Oh yeah, these plants.
How old is he, Jim?
20.
20.
Yeah, he's 20. So, you know,
Oh my God.
if you're counting. Yeah.
He's as old as he
My
is.
previous cat lived 21 years.
Pardon me?
21 years my previous cat lived.
Yeah,
It's pretty...
that's a long run for the most part, you know. That
He's doing very well.
he's doing pretty well. Yeah, he seems comfortable and relatively in good spirits. He doesn't seem depressed at all. And, I mean, he gets a lot of attention, and you know, he gets a lot of response from Brenda and I. So, okay, so self-acceptance is really everything, and you know, it's funny whenever you have a business meeting, or you're going out on a date, or you're going to be with a relative or something. If you just started off with the idea of sharing well-being, just feeling all right with that, whoever that significant other that you're with, if you just gave a little bit of consciousness and attention to ensuring they're comfortable and they don't need anything, and that you're really glad, you are really glad you're with them and they've come, and you know, even if it's not usually the kind of dialogue that you have with someone, you will find enormous potential in starting any encounter in that way. Even if you don't verbalize any of that, if all that's just established in your inner experience, internally, mentally, you know, it'll expand outward, and they'll feel it, and it'll move everything to in a helpful direction. So, because that's the fundamental thing that's missing in the human experience, is nobody feels comfortable. You know, and more or less, whatever that worldly mentality is, that aspect of your, that oppositional aspect of your thinking, wherein nothing is ever all right. You know, you're always at a deficit, you're always at a loss. So this is a wonderful lesson. I will accept atonement. I will accept atonement for myself. Correction. Correction is that adjustment, that change of mind that eliminates the falseness, the pretense. The author of the course says, here is the end of choice. I will accept atonement for myself. Here is the end of choice. For here we come to a decision to accept ourselves as God created us. And what is choice except uncertainty of what we are? Oh, yes. If somebody has not muted their mic, if you could do that, that'd be great, because we're picking up a little background noise from somewhere.
What is the noise that you're picking up? Do you know?
Shuffling?
No, it's just, it seems like random stuff. It just seems like an open mic, rather than a muted mic. A muted mic seems to work best, I think, in this, where we have a number of callers. So, okay. So here's the end of choice. So here we come to a decision to accept ourselves as God created us. And what is choice except the uncertainty of what we are? There's no doubt that is not rooted here in self-doubt. There is no question but reflects this one. All our questioning, all our searching for answers, it's all rooted in what is often not recognized as the decision to deny myself, to go along with the idea that I don't know my own worth. I don't know what I am, who I am, the way I'm supposed to be. There's no question but reflects this one. There is no conflict that does not entail the single simple question, what am I? All conflict is rooted in self-doubt, in the decision not to know what I am, not to know who I am. And if you consider what that costs you, because in the instant that you decide against yourself, you are against you, knowing your own living presence, knowing your own self, you lose awareness of that relationship you have with all the other aspects of your being, which involves all other living things, right? Creation is one thing. It's one whole, one incomprehensible, unlimited whole. So, who could ask this question except one who has refused to recognize himself? Self-denial is a refusal. You voted against knowing yourself. Seems like a crazy idea. Who could ask this question except one who has refused to recognize himself? Only refusal to accept yourself could make the question seem to be sincere. The only thing that can be surely known by any living thing is what it is. So you can see the minute you wander away, bless you. The minute you accept that idea and that thought, the minute you begin to question who yourself, it's a slippery slope. It's a deep descent. Only refusal to accept yourself could make the question seem to be sincere. The only thing that can be surely known by any living thing is what it is. From this one point of certainty beyond all question and beyond all doubt, it looks on other things as certain as itself. Your certainty of creation on up to and including God depends on your self-acceptance. And self-acceptance is rooted in that mentality we refer to as that one-man correction. Identification with and in the whole of universal creation. I and my Father are one. Uncertainty about what you must be is self-deception on a scale so vast its magnitude can hardly be conceived. To be alive and not to know yourself, not to know your own aliveness, is to believe that you are really dead.
No? No?
Pardon me?
No?
Yeah. Yeah, in other words, to be alive and not to know yourself, not to know your own aliveness, is really to believe that you're dead. You know, it's the root, you could say it's the root of all problem, conflict. And it's self-deception because it's an impossibility. There's no way you could not know what you are. For what is life? What is life except to be yourself? And what but you can be alive instead. Once you decide against your own aliveness, everything goes dark and gets, you know, there's no life anywhere. It's a pretty good description of the way things are in the human condition. There's no joy anywhere. You know, there's no sense of, oh my God, appreciation in the dynamic of doing anything. More dead than alive. To be alive and not to know yourself is to believe that you're really dead. For what is life except to be yourself? And what but you can be alive instead? In other words, once you decide against your own aliveness, that's, you know, the party's over. Who is the doubter? What is this thing, this doubter? What is it he or she doubts? Whom does he question? Who can answer him? He merely states that he is not himself. It's a declaration against your own everything that you are. If you decide against everything that you are, you're not going to have much to play with. It's going to get pretty bland pretty quick, uncomfortable. You know, it's going to get edgy.
There's a sort of strange life to that though too, right? Like people who are in conflict with everybody all the time, they seem to have a lot of energy. You understand what I'm saying?
Well,
Yeah.
they do.
Because they argue every time.
Well, but I'm saying we're talking about
Takes a lot
life
of
energy.
energy.
Yeah,
and
well-
that is life energy, but it's what, perverted life energy?
Well, it's severely restricted,
Yeah.
distorted. It's a semblance of life.
Constricted.
It's a caricature of life.
Yeah.
It isn't the real deal. You know, when you're really feeling yourself and feeling aware of that inner richness, you know, all the questions go away. All the issues essentially go away. That kind of energy it solves everything. Joy solves everything. It's really hard. Sincere and true joy, happiness, rejoicing, celebration really solves everything. Because it's powerful, yet it's gentle, it's firm, it's glorious. You know, it's like, wow, I'm so glad to be with you, you know, kind of thing. It's like, who are you? You know?
Yeah, but also these people, they are always in stress.
Speak up
Yeah.
now, because we want to.
I noticed that these people who argue all the time and try to prove their I don't know, the truth, they are always in the stress. They're
Yeah.
always, it seems not enough, you know, like, and so I think they are unhappy. So if when they are, you know, like at home somewhere, so they are unhappy.
Well, yeah, you know, it's a form of insincerity. It's not real. It's not real aliveness. It's an echo of it. It's a distant reflection of it. It ain't the real thing.
Because
Like
they're trying to get
exhausting
something that,
energy.
What's that, Honora?
It's like exhausting energy.
Or exhausted energy. You know, it's
they're using a lot of their inner energy, so trying to get something from external.
very often it can be like sarcasm. It could be bad humor.
Yeah.
It can, you know, it doesn't.
Criticism, yeah.
It doesn't stir things up in a beautiful way. It might stir things up. They may appear to be the life of the party for a few minutes, but you know, there's really no joy in it.
Make things explode.
What's that?
It may make, when you're saying, it may stir things up, could make things explode.
Yeah, it can make them more volatile, you know. It's not new information. It's not the energy that anyone is really compelled by and attracted to.
It's like in the movie Monster Inc. It's a animated movie. Did you see that movie? And they used these monsters to, they had to scare people, and they capture their screams, etc., and they put them in a fuel tank, and you know the screams, you know, made this fuel. But there was this one little girl. The monsters were these monsters that would hide in children's closets at night and come out and scare the children when they opened the closet door. But this one little girl didn't think it was a monster. She thought it was a big cat. And so when the monster came out of the closet like this, she said, "Oh, Kitty." She kept referring to this monster as Kitty, and she would just laugh. But they discovered later in the movie that the laughter filled up the fuel tanks much faster.
Yeah.
It was more efficient.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Positive message.
yeah, you know,
It was a great movie.
Really?
you can't put your lights out. You can't really eliminate your joy, your natural exuberance and energy. But in the condition of the human experience, you can appear to diminish it, to contain it, to constrict it, restrict it, make it less than, you know. And of course all of that is temporary and counterproductive, so you never get what you really want from it, even if you get aroused from, even if you get the person you're with to laugh, or if, you know, they laugh at the joke. It doesn't really, there's very little bang, you know, for the buck, for the it's not miraculous energy, you know. It's mundane, and like all things mundane, it'll never be enough. Doesn't really it doesn't really produce the lift everyone is really looking for. Everyone is really looking for a lift. You got any? You got a lift? Okay, so let's see. He really states that he is not himself. Okay, so, you know, this self-doubt, or this tendency to self-doubt, this tendency to deny, not accept myself. He merely states that he is not himself. You know, it's like you become a walking apology. You know, everything is an apology, as if, what are you apologizing for? And therefore, being something else, he merely states that he is not himself, and therefore, being something else becomes a questioner of what that something is. You start believing your own hype, your own weird press. Yet he could never be alive at all unless he knew the answer. Life is not possible except in and through self-knowledge. If he or she asks as if he does not know, it merely shows that he or she does not want to be the thing he or she is. He has accepted it because he lives, has judged against it after the fact, right? This is the business of after the fall. He has accepted it because he lives, has judged against it and denied its worth, and has decided that he does not know the only certainty by which he lives. Thus he becomes uncertain of his own life, of his life, for what it is has been denied, but by him. It is for this denial that you need correction, atonement, at one-ment. Your denial made no change whatsoever to what you are. It made no change in what you are. But you have split your mind, apparently, into what knows and does not know the truth. You are yourself. There is no doubt of this, and yet you doubt it. It's an untenable state. But you do not ask, what part of you, what part of me can really doubt myself? What part of you can really doubt yourself? It cannot really be a part of you that asks this question, for it asks of one who knows the answer. You know the answer. Were it part of you, then certainty would be impossible. Do you see what's happening? The emphasis is being shifted from, right, because this dualistic, illusory, conflicted state of mind is a state of mind you chose, decided for, and then pushed out of awareness the choice you made. So it seems to be something you're stuck with, that you were handed or dealt out, that you're not responsible. But this is shifting the emphasis. This is returning to you that there is a fundamental experience that's beyond that question of choice. You are who you are. So he's saying that if that questioner, that doubter in you, had any reality whatsoever, then certainty would be impossible, which of course is what the ego tries to convince you of, that this is as good as it's going to get. Being in conflict, being in a state of uncomfortable pretentiousness, having to pretend.
But actually, the ego doesn't really stay with that. What it does is it offers you plans so that you can change yourself into the image you'd like to be. And that's an ongoing construction project which never ends.
Which never ends and never works.
And never works.
Never produces the result, doesn't lead anywhere. It's
but
circular.
it keeps us away from the idea that I'm okay now.
Yeah, absolutely. Which will do in a pinch.
Yeah.
The ego says that'll do.
But
Hi, Bridget.
it's also a very noisy mind.
Yeah, it makes for a very noisy mind, absolutely. It's an invitation for a lot of noise, you know, to crank up the jam, you know, go to 11, DEFCON 11, you know, in terms of your inner experience. You know, everything just gets loud and confusing, yeah. All right, next paragraph. Bridget just got here, by the way, and she's in the bathroom right now, so she'll be joining us momentarily. Paragraph 6. Atonement, correction, at one minute, remedies the strange idea that it is possible to doubt yourself. See, it's not really possible. It's an illusory state, doesn't really exist. So atonement remedies the strange idea that it is possible to doubt yourself, to not know yourself, and be unsure of what you really are. In reality, this is impossible. God didn't create anything that could not know what it is and be the better for it, be glad for it. This thing that seems to doubt has no authenticity whatsoever. You know, it's meaningless. It's an illusion. Doesn't really exist. Doesn't really exist. Whatever existence it seems to have is only your acceptance of it, your tolerance of it. Which is, I don't recommend that at all. So atonement, correction, remedies this impossibility that you could and do doubt yourself. You don't. It's a pretentious position. Doesn't make any sense. Even though it may seem to make a lot of sense in this world. It may seem to be the way to fit in, to conform, you know. Jesus says here, this is the depth of madness. This thing you think yourself to be. Yet it is the universal question of the world. It's the universal question of the world. Right? It seems to be the only game in town. This is what you do if you're going to do this. If you're going to do this human thing. Gus, stop it. Give us a break. This is the depth of madness. Yet it is the universal question of the world, right? You just have to ask it to fit in, go along with it. Yet what does this mean except the world is mad? And you go mad with it in your decision to adjust to it, to conform. Well, there's that great quote, the opposite of courage is not cowardice, it's conformity. Going along with a foolish idea, an unreal idea, false idea, painful idea. Why then, he's asking us, why share this madness? Why share its madness in the sad belief that what is universal here is true? Just because it seems to be the only game in town doesn't mean it's the game you want to, the table you want to go play at. Doesn't mean you have to. If everybody, my mother used to always say, if everybody jumps off the Brooklyn Bridge, doesn't mean you have to. It's a valuable lesson. I'm still learning it. Now, in a decisive way, he says, nothing the world believes is true. Nothing. Remember, we often talk about the movie The Exorcist, the old priest, the young priest, doing the exorcism, exorcising the devil. And he tells the young priest who's getting really freaked out by what he sees. He pulls the young priest out of the room, and the old priest, the experienced priest who's done a lot of exorcisms, he's been working for God for a long time. He's clear what he is and who he is and what his function is. And he says to the young priest, nothing you see in that room is real. Nothing. Don't believe any of it. Nothing. None of it is. Remember, it's the early workbook lesson in the course. Nothing I see in this room, on this wall, from these eyes, in this mind is real. None of it means anything. So nothing the world believes is true. It is a place whose purpose is to be a home where those who claim that they do not know themselves can come to question what it is they are. Seems to be your purpose, my purpose. And they will come again until the time atonement, correction, is accepted. And they learn it is impossible to doubt yourself and not be aware of what you are. It's impossible. Don't buy it. Only acceptance can be asked of you for what you are is certain. Only acceptance can be asked of you for what you are is certain. It is set forever in the holy mind of God and in your own. It is so far beyond all doubt and question that to ask what it must be is all the proof you need to show that you believe the contradiction that you know not what you cannot fail to know. It's upside down thinking. It's inverted thinking. It doesn't make any sense. You only think it makes sense. And that's, you adjust to it. You go along with it. It's like a bad joke. You give your energy to it and then you experience the effect of it. Why did I say that? Why did I do that? Why did I go along with that? I knew that was not, the thing to say or do or... It is set forever in the holy mind of God and in your own. It is so far, what you are is set forever in the holy mind of God and in your own mind. It is so far beyond all doubt and question that to ask what it must be is all the proof you need to show that you believe the contradiction that you know not what you cannot fail to know. Is this a question or a statement which denies itself in statement? It's like you're canceling your own vote. You're voting against what you are. To doubt yourself, to not know, to not celebrate your aliveness, to not get up close and intimate with all that unique energy that is you, that will inform you and guide you and influence you and carry you and deliver you and provide for you. If you don't doubt it, push it away, diss it. It is so far beyond all doubt and question. Is this a question or a statement which denies itself in statement? Let us not allow our holy minds to occupy themselves with senseless musings such as this. This is lesson 139.
Okay. Jeffrey, can I say something?
Yeah.
I am so relating to what you're saying. And I had something happen today that got me in the loop, and I feel stuck in what you're saying, believing the upset, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I have all this rage almost, and it's like I don't know what to do with it.
Yep.
And I know logically that I know logically, but yet it seems to be taking me over a little bit.
Yeah. Although we know that nothing can take us over, and that all of it is revealing of a decision we make, whether unconscious or recognize a decision or not. So heaven is a decision I must make. Heaven being that I'm heaven bound. I'm not gonna allow my holy mind to be involved for 1 nanosecond more with all that stuff.
So let me ask you the question. But I also feel like sometimes we're repressing a feeling. Like instead of like feeling a feeling, I went and bought 2 chocolate chip cookies and I ate them. So like I know like I ate my feelings in that moment. So I'm just wondering, like.
Did you enjoy the cookies?
Yes.
Well, amen to that. You know, amen. Let's tell the truth there. You had 2 wonderful cookies.
I would have
And
got 3.
right, so don't allow your foolish thinking to deprive you or rob you of the fact that you had a couple of hellified cookies today.
Right, I
And you
beat
could've
myself up over it.
Well, but there was no need for that, and there is no need for that, just like there's no need to feel bad about whatever you think seemed to happen then. Because it's pretty clear that it's not so evident now. It's not actually happening now.
Yeah.
And it really goes under the rubric and the heading of what seemed to be, and who can say? You know, none of us can be sure of any of that. And the one thing we can be sure of is that in reality, in holy instant, in Christ's presence, nothing happened. I don't have to fix anything. I don't have to worry about anything. There isn't anything to do. I need do nothing. All right? God's already delivered the goods. I am who I am. And whatever that distracting stuff is, it only seems to have precedence because I'm giving it precedence. I'm giving it autonomy. I'm giving it life. I'm making it important. It has no importance. But there's a whole lot of varying importance in the worldly thought system given to that kind of stuff. Well, I may be suppressing feelings here. You know, all those deceitful ways that we go on torturing and tormenting ourselves over nothing, for no reason, and to no consequence.
No, maybe she meant that you know, like sometimes when something is happening, so we're just trying to suppress ourselves to the degree so not to bring the emotion or action to this situation, and we kind of like suppress ourselves. Maybe you.
No, I didn't do it purposely to suppress the feeling. I feel sometimes I suppress feelings just in general.
Yeah, well, you know, I don't know what to say to that or about that, other than there's deeper feeling content, which has no feel bad whatsoever in it. And that's, in order for you to have a lesser experience, some kind of compromising, upset experience, you must have first decided against your own well-being, against yourself, against your own validity, your own right to be. And in place of that comes, I'm angry, I'm depressed, I'm fearful, you know. I'll go have a chocolate chip cookie or something, you know. So I think the adjustment, the understanding we're really looking for, because we can fumble around for a long time trying to find value and meaning in what I seem to, you know, I think that's professionally called modern therapy. You know, we go round and rehash these themes of inacceptance for years and years, and nobody gets happy. So there's got to be another way. We're sharing the idea of another way, a deeper authenticity, in which, had you recognized the precious treasure that is, it could never have slipped out of awareness. Right? That's where you need to return your mind to the goodness of God that's inherent in who you are right now, that cannot be changed, cannot be lost, cannot be diminished, belittled, or made different in any way. celebrate that fact, and whatever lingering confusion there is, that'll all pass and quickly. And you'll have, on up to and including having no recognition whatsoever of it. So, Alexa, open the living room shade.
Okay, here's Crestron Home Automation. Opening the shade in the living room.
Alexa, open the kitchen shade.
Okay, here's Crestron Home Automation. Opening the shade in the kitchen.
Now, here, and this speaks to that, directly
Yeah.
to that. We have a mission here. You have a mission here. You have a function. We have a mission here. We did not come to reinforce the madness that we once believed in. Let us not forget the goal that we accepted. It is more than just our happiness alone we came to gain. What we accept as what we are proclaims what everyone must be along with us. You know, do you want to further away your time and space energy with things that are not going to change anything no matter how you rearrange it? You know? It's like rearranging the deck furniture on the Titanic. It's going down. It's all temporary. It's going to be over in a flash. Can you enjoy your being alive now? And out of your enjoyment, your sincere enjoyment, excitement, exhilaration in being yourself, which by the way is an unlimited experience, all things will be made right. That's a miracle. That's miraculous promise. That's God's loving promise to you. You don't have to do that anymore. Just do this. That's what Jesus meant when he told, you know, all those guys, Simon, Peter, you know, drop their fishing nets. Just come hang out with me and we'll do this. And everything, you'll be happy. Everything will work. You won't know how, but you won't care. Let first things be first. Let truth be true. Let the truth be true. Get out of the business of being right about what I think and what I think I should do with my precious mentality. Let God's teacher rule the roost, run the show, guide me in this. And then you just put down the thing you're fumbling around with because you're not going to fix it. No matter what you do. No matter how many people you get to stand on their yoga mats on their head with you, it isn't going to fix anything. We have a mission here. We did not come to reinforce the madness that we once believed in. And let us not forget the goal that we accepted. It is more than just our happiness alone we came. You came to heal the world, didn't you? Mm-hmm. You're the light of the world. You came in celebration of all rightness. Let's move on, all right? All right, already? Can we move on? That's what your function is in the world as a miracle worker, as the light of the world. To move it up out of that resistance into living, flowing, sharing, meaningful, feel good here and now. You can do that. What we accept as what we are proclaims what everyone must be along with us. Fail not your brothers. Fail not all that other aspects of creation. Or you fail yourself. You're here to share the goods. Look lovingly on the other. Look lovingly on them, that they may know that they're part of you and you of them. That's the only thing that matters. All the stuff that seems to need fixing, there's no way to fix it except through this. because it's not a remedy of your own making. And that's why it'll work. Because it has to do with the fundamental nature of truth, which is that all things were created beautifully and equally, powerfully, and forever as God would have them be.
That's the problem with the mind in general, right? Like if I create a problem with my mind and I try to solve the problem, then it's the same mind reinforcing the problem, right?
Absolutely.
That's why I keep going around in circles.
Yes, my conditions for happiness are why I'm never happy.
Right. We've said that a number of times, and it keeps getting. It's a good reminder every time.
Yeah, I don't have a fix.
That's it.
That's it. I don't have a fix for anything. I'm not here to fix anything. I'm here to be happy. That's in the course. That's.
Yeah.
It's not you.
I don't have a fix for anything. I'm here to be happy. That's it. That's all I got. That's the answer. I know you don't believe it. Doesn't matter. Find out for yourself through the sharing of happiness. Natural, pure, meaningful, real deal. This is what I am and who I am. I don't care about any of that other shit. I care about you and about that quality that's worthwhile and valid. Now, can we enjoy our lunch? You know, or whatever it is, our business meeting? Can we make widgets and have them, and have the experience of making them be fun? Do we have torture ourselves over nothing? Rehashing old themes and ideas that are meaningless and never made any sense and never will make any sense because they were made up. This does atonement teach correction and demonstrates the oneness of God's Son is unassailed by his belief he knows not what he is. You know, we often talk about everybody knows. It's impossible not to know what you are. Bishop Desmond Tutu says, there are none so hard to awaken as those who pretend to sleep. Don't fall for the pretense. You know, speak truth to truth. Speak powerfully to powerfulness. You know, speak well. Share holy thoughts with holy thought. To know your own holy thought. Share love. Only love works. Love inspires all miracles, not analysis, not egocentric analysis. This does atonement teach and demonstrates the oneness of God's Son is unassailed by his belief he knows not what he is. Today, accept atonement. Today, accept atonement. Today. Now! That's what it means to get on your knees. The idea of getting on your knees. It's like dropping everything else and making it that one thing, that one relationship, that one gesture of acceptance. I willness. I will. I am. Getting into the I amness of your own aliveness. Today, accept atonement not to change reality, but merely to accept the truth about yourself and go your way, rejoicing in the endless love of God. If you're not doing that, what are you doing? It is but this that we are asked to do. It is but this that we will do today. That's what all Jesus was saying when he said, I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life. He was simply saying, I am happy to be as God created me. And I highly endorse and recommend sharing that idea. That you share it as I'm sharing it with you now. That, you know.
Connected to Jeffrey S. iPad.
Yeah, so let's see. Today, accept atonement not to change reality, but merely to accept the truth about yourself and go your way. Your way. Rejoicing in the endless love of God. That's your life. The endless love of God, not all that other shit. It is but this that we are asked to do. It is but this that we will do today. 5 minutes, and then it goes on. 5 minutes in the morning and at night we will devote to dedicate our minds to our assignment for today. This is your assignment. We start with this review of what our mission is. The review is, I will accept atonement for myself, for I remain as God created me. We have not lost, you have not lost the knowledge that God gave to you when he created you like him. We can remember it for everyone. For in creation are all minds as one. And in our memory is the recall. And in our memory is the recall how dear our brothers are to us in truth. How much a part of us in every mind, how faithful they have really been to us, and how our Father's love contains them all. Remember, nothing you see from these eyes means anything. Just because you think it doesn't mean it happened. Now, that's a very threatening idea for people who are wedded to their egotistical projections. It's a threatening idea that, that in that system of thought that none of it is reality. And that by setting it aside would be a gain and not a loss. Most people are so bound to that, it's till death do us part. Mm-hmm. And sadly, that's the way it seems to go, and not later. Because you can't, you're squelching, suppressing your own aliveness in that idea. You are accepting the idea that you're not all right. And that life isn't as God created it, but it's the way I think it is. Whew. We have not lost the knowledge that God gave to us when he created us like him. We can remember it for everyone, for in creation are all minds as one. And in our memory is the recall how dear our brothers are to us in truth, how much a part of us in every mind, how faithful they have really been to us, and how our Father's love contains them all.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah. In thanks for all creation in the name of its creator and his oneness with all aspects of creation, we repeat our dedication to our cause today, each hour, as we lay aside all thoughts that would distract us from our holy aim. For several minutes, let your mind be cleared of all the foolish cobwebs which the world would weave around the Holy Son of God, and learn the fragile nature of the chains that seem to keep the knowledge of yourself apart from your awareness. As you say, I will accept for myself, I will accept atonement for myself, for I remain as God created me. It's pretty simple. Great. 8:12. Okay, so we completed that lesson. That was 139. Thanks, Sonora. That's a lovely lesson.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Everyone.
It just gets simpler if you let it get simpler. And this is happening anyway. It's only a matter of time before you realize that, before you lose your ability to hold on to things that don't really matter to you, that aren't helpful to you.
It's funny because I feel like I've gotten like a lot better with that. I don't know. So it was kind of surprising to me today how I hooked in. Like,
Yeah.
like I haven't hooked in like that in a while. So
Holy Spirit would remind you didn't really hook into it today. You only thought you did.
yeah, yeah.
But your mind is so powerful that when you think you did, you know, all hell seems to, you know, oh my God, I lost everything. You know, I had a bad day.
It's all over.
Oh my God, I better go have another couple of chocolate chip cookies. Make sure that tomorrow has some shot at, you know, being all right. You know, I mean, just in our egotistical thinking, we think a lot of things and make a lot of meaningless gestures that don't really accomplish anything.
Yeah.
You have a deeper, purer, more powerful energy that will do everything for you and leave you and others around you with a smile on your face. If you only will express that, be true to that. You know, that's the self you want to be true to.
So if you, let's say, recognize you still have a resentment towards someone, right?
Yeah.
But like logically, again, you get you doing it to yourself. Like
Yeah.
that person's just a mirror
Yes.
of you.
It's something I haven't forgiven in myself.
But it's like from childhood. So like,
Who knows?
right. Well,
What-
you got this. I have this story that it is.
Yeah, when was my childhood? At times in my own thinking, am I any less a child today than I seemed to be way back then?
Really?
Yeah.
Is there more work to do? Like some people in the world would say, well, you need to feel those feelings. You need to whatever.
You need to, you know,
Really hard at
get
it.
you need
Yeah,
to, you need to get a whole team of psychiatrists. Or you could just be happy and see what happens. I recommend the being happy, because being happy is way more than just what I think happiness is.
You're also not dreaming about it though. Like most people would go on and on and on about it and talk to so-and-so about it and go to their therapist for years about it. And I mean, you're awake in that dream, so
Yeah,
I mean,
and,
that's a
you're
big
sharing it
advantage.
in a very responsible way.
yeah, you're not sitting there saying, this person did this to me and
No.
how do I make
Yeah.
them not do that to me? I mean, that's the typical,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Jesus was famous for saying, healer, take the beam out of thine own eye.
right.
You know, that's
Clean-
another
clean
way of
perception.
saying, I need help here.
Yeah.
You know, I think I have a problem out there. I know my problem is not out there.
Well,
It's in my
that's
thinking.
exactly what I did. Like on my way here, I was saying, look at this with me, Jesus.
Yeah.
Like, please help me to forgive myself for using it to attack myself today.
Yeah.
And to not and heal my mind about it.
Absolutely.
Because that's the root of it, is like I don't know how to let this go by myself.
Yeah.
But I guess I just want these immediate results, and I don't.
Which you're entitled to.
Yeah.
Which you're entitled to, and you have available to you, and that experience unfolds and at a rate and in a deeply personal way, having to do with how sincere and desiring you are to be as God created me, right? To how far do you have to go down that tunnel,
Right.
that path, before you could say that pretty much all of them, you already know what's down there. You don't have to mess with any of them.
Yeah.
You have a simpler and a more present function, and that's, to be at home in the preciousness of your own aliveness.
Okay, but so I wasn't allowed to be angry in my family. Like, it was just kind of a thing that got stunted in me. And so sometimes I feel like, do I need to get angry?
Only if you insist. You know, and if you insist, you'll have plenty of opportunity to be angry. I guarantee you that. The world will conform.
But you can be awake while you're angry. You can be totally angry and be
Absolutely.
like, I want to be angry right now, and I know that I'm as God created me.
Yes, there's, you know.
Yeah, but you have to understand that you will have the results of your angriness.
Well, I mean, that doesn't mean you go out and hurt somebody. I mean, you could be angry in your own home
No,
and
you
just be
could.
like, I want to feel these feelings with God. You know?
Well, you can also give up what you think is actually happening, because I assure you, you're never accurate.
Well, that's for sure.
You don't
yeah.
really know.
That's right.
And you can say, you know, I'm feeling all this energy. I'm calling it anger. I don't know what it is. What's the truth in it for me?
Right.
Lead me to the truth in it
Yeah.
for me. Because there's more to anger than anger. There's more to anger than anger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to share that my experience of that. Now, it seems that I can notice the familiar feelings of angriness or something when I got or frustrated or upset, I don't know. But it became for very short time. So at once I noticed that I began to go down or something. I just so I don't know. I don't want to do this. No. So I don't know how it works. It works.
Yeah.
And I'm okay in 1 minute. I don't have to
Yes.
be angry like for 1 hour or for several days or think over
Yeah.
and over and over. So I just want to,
That's
go in this, yeah.
That's a very good sign, and miracles will encourage that. Miracle-mindedness will shorten. How does he say it in the Course? He says,
Release
they collapse time.
collapse time.
Oh, yeah.
Miracles collapse time. They undo the past in the present and thereby release the future. Right? So the way you're going to feel that or experience that is you're going to be spending a lot less time in those serial episodes of being nuts and going through your pattern of dysfunctional maneuvers to try to, which are all repetitive nonsense, destructive, abusive shit.
Yeah, and also it's...
Everything all the trouble and the upset goes faster.
Yeah.
Disappears faster.
And also that, it helps to accept. So, for example, something happened, okay, I'm not going to be upset, okay, I accept what happened, okay, so now
feelings.
Now I have to do this then. Okay, I'm doing this. So, and okay, so then I switch my mind, so I'm again joyous, So it really works. I don't know the way, so I believe it's miracles. Yeah, that is happening.
Now, the lesson that we looked at today, 139, really speaks about this deeper adjustment, accepting atonement,
Right.
Yeah.
as a deeper as a deeper aspect of undoing or eliminating those patterns that seem to be at work in your system, because at a deeper level you're still messing around and avoiding the issue of loving yourself, accepting yourself, wanting to know, be in the know of who you are and what you are. So you need, that's really what all of this is leading to, is the acceptance of that reality that you share with God, in which upset is impossible.
I have a question for you about what we are and who we are. So as I understood, it's kind of different. Yes, so if we are trying to answer what we are, so it
There-
would be one answer for everyone,
Yeah.
as I understood. Yes,
Well,
so
the-
we are God's creation and we
Yeah.
are the one. But I'm not sure if I understand so the answer for the question of who we are. So
Well, I think it's best to, this is beyond words. You ask the question and you quiet yourself and listen. You trust that an answer is being given you. And you learn to listen to the answer. The answer is an experience, it's not a concept. It's not you are this or I am this. It's beyond all that. It's a deep and profoundly intimate experience, internal experience beyond words.
but what who is so the difference is it's like who is more for human form and what is more for
Well,
like a-
they're real. It's real. They both the who and the what. It's really the same thing. You are what you are is love. Who you are is loving intelligence. You are the love of God in expression,
okay,
in extension.
why we have this separation, it's kind of separation that
Nothing is really separate.
you know.
No. Everything is really a part of a greater understanding, a greater relationship. Nothing is really separate from anything else. It's all connected. Everything is connected. In a way, it's incomprehensible to human reasoning,
I just
but
read,
it's perfectly and experientially available to you as an experience.
I just read kind of like it's
Speak up, speak
what
up.
we are, it's not who we are. So that I understood that it's
Who you are, again, it's the same thing. The what you are is also the who you are. It's just beyond the idea of a Tatiana as you think of yourself. What you are is far beyond that. Infinitely more than that. If you think in terms of human concepts,
yeah.
you're
so
gonna-
I'm trying to understand, you know, like
you can't understand it at that
Literally.
level.
So,
You have to get out of that kind of thinking in order to gain the understanding of it. The way Jesus talks about it in the Course, he says, a universal theology is impossible. A universal answer, explanation. It's impossible, right? But he says a universal experience is not only possible, it's necessary. Necessary. So, you know, this is all about getting out of that business of mental trying to acquire information that your human mentality is not able to access,
Because that's based on limitation.
which is illusion, which
Right.
doesn't really exist. The more you try to follow its reasoning, the more at a loss you're going to, you know, the more confusing it's going to become. You have to move, you have to allow yourself to move beyond that. A leap of faith, trusting in God. You know, trusting in God's teacher, trusting in the miracle of love, the miracle of loving presence within me as myself. I can't explain that. That's not explainable. You know, there are no words for that. There's no human concepts that can do justice to the question of what you are and who you are.
okay.
But God will answer you.
Yeah, sure.
And your life is his answer. Let that speak to you.
I just wanted to share one thought. I was listening to one very good book about communication with God. So it's called Communication with God.
Communication with God.
With God, yes. And so there was one thought.
Communication or conversations with God?
I think communication.
Well, there was that book by Neil somebody
Yeah,
who
well,
wrote
Okay, I will share.
Okay, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but the one thought that I liked the most. So why we come here? So it seems that we are separate here. Yeah. Why we come then? So because so why we are not at that state when we are the one? Yeah. So do you understand me?
Why are we?
Not in a state of oneness here. Like
Yeah,
we
so
don't-
Well, you are.
Why we come at human form here? So to experience this separation, you know, like the illusion.
You're
of
not here to
Yeah,
experience
the
the
illusion of
separation.
separation. But the answer was very nice. That when you are, for example, there, so I mean not in the human form, so you are totally aware that you are at like as the oneness.
That's why you're here.
Yeah. No, there. But when you come here, you are not aware of it. And
But you can be. That's what this is for. That's what the
only
miracle.
to have this experience, so to stay at least some time in this illusion, you can join the wholeness. You can understand what it means. You can learn how to be.
Yes.
When you are there, so it's impossible. For example, when you are when you are swimming, you are already in the water, so you don't understand how to be like so the idea was, so to experience something, you have to be kind of a part of this. So to come to
Okay,
have
I
this
mean,
experience.
do you find the answer helpful?
Yes.
Great.
For me.
Okay, yeah.
Because I was questioning why we came. Why we came? If there are a lot of answers, there
Well-
are a lot of, like perfection and love and so on and so on. Why we come? So here, I come and I come and I come again,
All I would say is here and there is part of everywhere. There's no separation. There is no here separate from there. There's only one thing going on. And fundamentally, you're here to remember that and to share it, to raise the understanding
They
of
just
that.
meant that people do not remember that they are one.
That's why you're here, to remember.
Yeah, to remember and come to this experience,
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm not.
yeah,
That's
so-
fine. It's 8:30.
I think that if you're going to keep asking why you come, we're back at thinking we have a choice rather than make a decision. Why you're here.
Yeah, I don't know. Are you reading?
Yeah,
Okay. Have you begun the workbook lessons yet?
I did.
Great. Okay. So it'll all become clear. And you will, there's no answers. Whatever you like from a particular system or a book, use it. If you find it helpful and meaningful and comforting, use it. It's all good. Everything has a relationship with everything else. And this idea of God's teacher will use anything and everything that you like for your advantage. So,
yeah. When I'm writing, I'm listening to useful books.
okay, yeah, sure, yeah.
No, it's communication with God.
Oh, okay, all right.
Neil Dolan.
Neil Dolan.
Oh, it is him. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So maybe it's another one of his books.
It's a-
Okay.
Or it just could be the translation. Is communications in a conversation?
No, it's in English.
Oh.
I'm listening in
Oh,
English.
maybe
He
it's-
also has another one called
Ah.
Communion.
Okay.
Communion with God.
Okay.
All right.
He's got another one called Chats with God.
Chats with God, yeah.
Is he really?
You know,
Coffee time with God.
Text with
But you got to keep coming up with names for books. I mean,
Well-
it's all one thing, but we need different names for different books.
well, apparently.
I don't know.
Anyway, it's all good, whatever you're attracted to, it'll all get folded into what helps you. And anything that really and truly helps you is going to help all of us. So do that. Read that, Yeah.
Why not? Good thought this-
Jesus talks about it from the point of view, that's what he meant, I think, when he was saying, if somebody asks for the shirt off of your back, give it to him. Just take it off and give it to him. He was talking about a deeper part of your nature, which is limitlessly accommodating and able.
Yeah.
It can create beauty and meaning and joy out of anything. Thank God.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
Awesome.
Thank God that we have access to that kind of help.
Yeah.
Yeah, that we know that we